How you do one thing is how you do everything, which goes to a further principle from Hermeticism of as above, so below. This idea is really what makes the whole process of embodiment and movement work. Guys discover this. They say, okay, how I embody vulnerability equates to seeing my wife and people I love as the enemy. Shit. I don't want that. A few things that we can do. We get them to find a different feeling, a different way of relating to vulnerability and have them express it in the body. So instead of being like, oh, gee, right, whatever it is, then I say, what's something else? Maybe it's this. Okay, now it looks like you're protecting yourself. What would open vulnerability looks like? Because this looks like protecting yourself rather than actually being vulnerable. Okay, maybe then it's this. Okay, now this looks like you're giving up and scared. So I would actually take them through this process of finding these new reference points in the body. And as the client does that, they're faced with all of the stories. They're faced with the traumas. They're faced with the fears, and all of these arise along the journey of finding a new way to embody these things. At the bottom of a lot of shadow material is this fundamental notion that there's something wrong with them, or they're ugly, right? They're unwanted, undesirable, unlovable. Helping them penetrate that and heal that is like one of the core things. And that usually takes some time because there's a lot of different layers around that. It's a really good invitation for men. What would it feel like if you were cherished by your wife, girlfriend? What response shows up in your body? What would that feel like? Maybe you are cherished. Oh, do you recognize it? Do you appreciate it? Do you cherish her for that? This stuff shows up, right? In our body, in our nervous system. This is the foundation of cinesomatics. You can try this right now where you're sitting or standing, not driving. If you have your hands free in your body, find the feeling of receiving, and through movement of your hands and of your body, express it, show that. And you're going to discover your relationship with receiving. If you can see what that looks like and what that feels like, that awareness is going to be a doorway into changing that relationship. That's the first part. The second part is getting an accurate definition of what receiving is. Because a lot of times we don't want to receive because of what we think it means. It might mean you're not enough. It might mean you need help. It might mean you're inadequate. It might mean that you're not man enough to do it yourself. It might mean that you aren't as independent as you hoped. Whatever it is, there's all of these things that a lot of people that have trouble giving or receiving have inaccurate definitions about. We also forget that receiving is not just about us. Receiving is about the other person as well. Receiving includes giving, includes receiving. Penetrating involves being penetrated, and vice versa. This was actually helpful for my dad. There was an aspect of him that thought receiving gifts and stuff like this was just selfish. It's just about him. And he didn't see that by rejecting those gifts, by rejecting receiving from other people, he was robbing the other person the joy that they got from giving something to him. Sometimes we get a little narcissistic about it. We make it about us. And we forget that, oh, there's other people involved in this. Other people might feel rejected and hurt because I'm unable to receive. And we don't even realize it's happening. That awareness, too, can be very helpful to say, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. That's a really good entryway into starting to clarify our nervous system and our approach to receiving. If you're willing to do whatever it takes to see why perhaps you can't receive, to see why you feel like you don't deserve love, to explore and actually start feeling the vulnerability, starting to feel the sadness, the shame, the remorse, the unlovability, the ugliness. If you're willing to start going into these shadows and getting into relationship with both your masculinity and the femininity, bringing them together so you can be of great service to yourself in the world, everything in your life will change. Find a community of people that cherish men. But it starts with you valuing yourself first. It starts with you being willing to receive that. It starts with you saying, hey, you know what? I'm a good guy, and I'm going to do what it takes to have better relationships, to get in touch with masculinity that serves the world. That's some of the highest calling that there is. And I commend each and every man for doing that.